Hello, my name is Nancy Piacentini, and I work with HEC Paris. I'm delighted to be able to speak with you today. I'd like to say hello to all my friends at Time, and welcome to all the students that are going to be listening in today. So I'm going to share my screen with you so that we can look at the slides I've prepared, I hope. Okay, so it's not working for me. Here we go. So there we are. Okay. So you might want to note my email, hecprograms@hec.fr, in case you have a question that comes up or you need some help. You'll see my name, Nancy. You're welcome to use it because Piacentini is a bit long. So just a word about the portfolio of our programs. Today we're going to be discussing the master's programs. Students that have over 3 years of work experience generally look for an MBA. Students that have more than that go to the executive programs. We also have open enrollment programs and advanced certificates, but today we're really looking at the segment 3 years work experience max, 0 as well. Freshers are welcome, and this is what we call the master's segment. Some facts and figures about our school, in case you don't know us. We are the #2 business school in Europe, according to the Financial Times. And we have a huge alumni network, which is one of the reasons why students generally do a master program. Not only is our school ranked, but our programs themselves are ranked. And we also are accredited. So these are things you want to consider when you're searching for your master's program. I get the question a lot, how should I select my master program? Well, start by looking at the quality of the school. Here you can see that the school is ranked highly, the programs themselves are ranked highly. The finance program is 6 in a row #1. The Master Management program has consistently topped the Financial Times rankings, and the accreditations, Triple Crown, are very important as well. So those are things that tell you this is a high quality institution. Just because a program is highly ranked doesn't mean it's the perfect program for you, but it does mean you can start looking at it as a quality program and check it out. So that's what we're going to do today. Also, when you have these kinds of rankings, it's generally because of the faculty. We have 138 full-time professors. They're very international, and we have a lot of visiting professors, a lot of lecturers, a lot of professionals. We really pride ourselves on a 50-50 basis in the classrooms, where you'll have practitioners, top-notch practitioners, coming in as well as the high level of academics. So this is where we would like to get you to, and I'm going to give you some information about the programs, but especially how to get accepted and how to be able to graduate from HEC. Our pre-experience programs, Masters in Management, the flagship program of HEC is a 2-year program. It can be a 3-year if you take the gap year, and we'll check all about that in a little bit. There's a lot of double degrees and joint degrees possible in this program. And of course, there are the 1-year programs, the 1-year master programs that you can see on the bottom of the screen. So the most important question, the most popular question is, so what are you looking for? We want you to have some very important qualities. The first one, of course, is academic excellence. We are looking at your grades. Up until now, that's been your job. You're a student, and that's what we're going to evaluate. We will also be looking at your GMAT or your GRE score, and this is one very important element of your online application. Just because you get a 750 GMAT doesn't mean you're automatically enrolled in the program, but you can be pretty sure that if you're going to get a score under 650, then you're probably not going to be competitive. So the GMAT is one of the 3 hurdles that you need to jump over to continue running this application race and get selected. The first one's academic excellence, the second one's GMAT or GRE, and the third one is extracurricular activities or internships, depending on the type of program that you're going to choose. We're also looking for cross-cultural sensitivity, and sometimes students say to me, well, how can I show that because I haven't been able to travel? Well, maybe the customers that you've been involved with during your internships are international customers. Maybe you've learned another language. Maybe you've been involved in clubs to integrate students that come from around the world who visit your school. So all of these things make up your cross-cultural sensitivity. And of course, one of the most important ones is strong motivation. Our professors are passionate about what they do, and they're looking for students that are just as passionate. Another question I get a lot is, do I need professional experience? Okay, this is not an MBA program. It's a Master's in Management program, and this is the pre-experience segment. So what you do need is, for the 1-year MSc programs, internships are necessary. You don't need to have a long professional experience. 3 to 6 months internships is good. For the Grande École Masters in Management program, the MIM, we expect you to have strong academics. The difference really between these programs is also your motivation. I know exactly what I want. I've been able to get internships to check it out. I'm sure of my career goals. I'm going to shoot for a 1-year Master in Management program, a 1-year master program, a specialized master. I'm not sure about my career goals, about my professional project. I like business. I'm not really sure exactly which field, and I haven't maybe had a chance to get internship experience. Then I'll be shooting for the Grande École Master in Management program. So that's the big difference. One of these programs will allow you to have career goals that are not quite precise, but you have high potential. You show a high GMAT score or a high GRE score. You have good grades. You've been involved in extracurricular activities, or maybe your clubs and societies, or I have clear career goals and it's the 1-year programs I'm going to shoot for. So the answer to do I need professional experience is no. Do I need internship experience if I'm going for the 1-year programs? Yes. If I'm going for the 2-year Master in Management program, no. The Master in Management is a 2-year program that can be a 3-year program if you take the gap year. So as you can see, the M1, your first year, is a solid foundation in business and management courses, much like an MBA, but we don't expect you to have any professional experience. The second year is your specialization. You can specialize in any of those 1-year programs we looked at, but all in all, there's 20 different specializations possible in the Master in Management. The gap year is ideally for students who haven't had the opportunity to get internship experience and would like to do that. So in between the first year, the M1, your general business, and the second year, your M2, the specialization year, you can take a gap year and do internship experience. Maybe you're not sure, for example, maybe I'd like to try a marketing business, but I'm really not sure which field. So then I would try and get 2 different internships to check it out. Or maybe I'm hesitating between 2 different fields altogether, and that's not uncommon. I'm not really sure if I'm going to go finance or if I'm going to go strategy. So I'd like to check out the difference between investment banking, maybe, and consultancy. So this gap year is really a good opportunity to try it out, make sure you like it before you specialize in it. All in all, the program is an 18 months program. If you add the gap year, that's another academic year that you're adding on there. And there are double degrees with international partners as well for the specialization year. That would mean that you'd spend the first year at HEC and the second year at one of our partner institutions. We also have a SEMS possibility, and that would mean that the second year you'd specialize in international business or managerial and financial economics, for example, half of the year with HEC and half of the year with one of the SEMS partner institutions. The MIM is one program that opens a lot of doors, 20 different doors. So of course it's a bit complicated, but in the end, what you need to know is the first year is general business, the second year you get an expertise in a specific field, and in between the two, you can actually go get some internship experience. You can see here the difference as well of how you're admitted to the program. International students follow a bachelor degree, and the French students come from prep school. They do 1 year of foundation to make up for the third year, and then you'll be together in the first year at HEC. So French and international students, of course, make up the wealth and the diversity of the program. Master in Management students do a lot of different things. With 20 different specializations, you can imagine that just about anything is possible in the business field. So you have students that went into consumer goods, or students that went into advertising, or students that went into finance, or students that went into consultancy, and many other areas. The important thing here, of course, is the placement rate. That is why you do a master program in the first place. 98% of students found employment within 3 months, which is absolutely fabulous, and that's why you do a master program, to boost your employability and your attractivity. 39% of those students decided to work outside of their home country. It's a decision. It can differ each year because it's a personal decision. You may want to go back and work in your home country, or you may want to work outside of your home country. It depends on yourself. So that statistic is very, something that varies. You can see this, the average salary rate for students as well. The Master in Management is a highly ranked program. We saw that earlier. And another advantage of rankings, other than checking the quality, is the attractivity and visibility for employers. They know this program and they come to recruit you. So what you need to know if you're applying to the Master in Management, the MIM, Grande École, is, of course, the first 3 things that we talked about. You need to show academic excellence. It's our first and very most important criteria. We want to see the extracurricular activities or the internships if you have some, but it's not mandatory to have internships to apply to the MIM. And of course, don't forget, study hard. You need a competitive GMAT or GRE score. I just like to really insist on the fact that if you'd like to work in France, you must learn French. It's not compulsory to study at HEC because the course is in English, but if you want to work inside a country, you must learn the language. Now, of course, you heard my accent. I'm not French. I had to learn French too when I came to Paris. It's totally possible. It took me about 3 to 6 months to start speaking with errors, and about 6 to 9 months to start finding out about those errors and how to correct them. And then after 1 year, I was speaking French. Remember, the MIM is a 2-year program. So at the end of the program, 2 years, you should be speaking French if it's one of your goals. It's not compulsory. If you want to work in London, for example, you won't really need French. So you might want to learn another language. or you might want to spend that time in associations or, doing different things on campus, clubs, sports, etc. But from an employer point of view, learning another language is always very attractive. It shows that you have a flexibility and an adaptability, that when you're mobile, you embrace a different culture, and that's not uncommon for employers to look for those kinds of qualities. It's very rare now to be working in a group of people in your office where everybody's the same nationality. It's important to be able to be flexible and adapt to different cultures and to different perspectives and different ways of looking at things. So learning a different language is also showing that you can do that. Some statistics about who the students were when they came to HEC. A lot of students worry, saying, "Oh, I've never studied business before, so is that a handicap?" No, definitely not. 28% of our students are engineers. What are managers? Managers are people that solve problems. What are engineers? They're people that solve problems. So you don't need to have studied business before to join the Master in Management program. But once again, I'll stress about the GMAT score. You can see on the screen the average GMAT score is very high. So you do want to have a competitive score to make sure that you're competitive, your application gets noticed. It's a shame to, cut yourself short and not take time to study and prepare and maybe get an average score. It's to know that the seats for this program are limited. So you really want to give it your best shot and show your high potential. We can compare students to each other with the GPA if they come from the same country, but it's very difficult to compare GPAs from around the world. In Greece, they're out of 10. In Canada, they're out of 4 or 5. In Italy, it's out of 30. So you want to really be sure that you do a good job on your GMAT, because that's the score we can use to compare students all over the globe. You write the same test. There's 2 ways of applying to the Master in Management program. You can apply directly with HEC Paris, or you can apply with the SAI, that is the International Student Admissions. The SAI basically is centralizing applications to Master in Management programs for all the schools, business schools, that offer a Master in Management program, schools that belong to the Chamber of Commerce, Paris, France. So if you would like to give yourself more chances of being accepted to a French business school, you can apply through the SAI. The application fee is a little higher because you're applying to all the schools at once, including HEC Paris. Otherwise, you can apply directly with HEC Paris. I think that you should have a look at the schools, and if there's more than one that is you find attractive and you enjoy the program, then it's worth applying, because that gives you a plan B. If you're only interested in HEC Paris, then it's not worth paying 180 euros instead of 100 euros to apply directly. So have a look to make your decision. It's totally up to you. It doesn't change your chances of being accepted to one or the other. If you're applying to HEC, here's the deadlines. There's 4 application deadlines for one intake each year in September. So you can see how it works, how quickly you'll get an answer. The first round deadline is on October 14th. That means that all the applications that have been sent in up until that date will be examined for the first round. Yes, you need your GMAT score to apply. No, you don't need the official report. If you have the official report sent to HEC Paris, you can apply with your test taker score. You can see the admissibility results, which means if we're going to invite you to the interview or not. Well, come less than a month later. And in 20 days, you'll know if you've been admitted or not for that first round. So you can read the calendar that way. Round 2, the deadline is on the 2nd of January. The admissibility results, if you're invited to an interview, you'll know on the 25th of January. And if you're admitted or not, you'll know on the 23rd of February. Same thing for round 3, cutoff date 24th of February, the admissibility results the 17th of March, and the admission results on the 6th of April. And then there's a last application deadline in April. This puts the admissibility results in May and the admission in June. My strong suggestion here is please do not wait until the last round to apply to this type of program. Seats are limited, scholarships are limited. It's not a good idea to put yourself in the last round. It's also very tedious if you're applying for a visa. It can be nerve-wracking by the time that you get all the paperwork. And there's not as many seats left sometimes. So you really do want to apply early. Students that are looking at the program now, you have the time to do your GMAT for one of the first or 2 rounds, and I really do suggest you do that. As you can see my little drawing here, my mom always says the early bird gets the worm, and that is something that has been very true throughout my experience. So you want to be in the early sessions, not in the late sessions. If you apply directly to HEC Paris, you can apply to 2 programs with the same application and 1 fee only. This is interesting, as we said before, that the specializations for the Master in Management, some of them are 1-year programs. So if you were really keen on doing the Master in Management with a specialization in marketing, for example, you could apply Master in Management first choice, and second choice, you could apply to the MSc in marketing if you have some internship experience. So it gives you 2 chances by applying to 2 programs to be able to get selected for the program that you're really interested in. Be careful. The HEC direct admissions and the SAI have different deadlines, so don't get that mixed up. The SAI deadlines are slightly different, so just be careful there. So that's basically everything I had to tell you about the Master in Management program. We'll talk about interviewing skills and some more of the CVs and things that we expect on the application that are common to both programs. So I'll just go through first the 1-year MSc programs and some specificities that you might want to know. As you can see here, we have a new program, Big Data for Business. It's a joint degree with the École Polytechnique. And we have some French masters as well that I won't spend a lot of time speaking about, but just in case you want to learn French and you want to participate, I'll just let you know a little bit about that. So we're going to start off by talking about the Master in Finance. This is typically the master you want to follow if you're interested in the core careers in finance: trading, asset management, structured finance, consultancy, financial consultancy, mergers and acquisitions, equity. This program is ideal if that's what you're interested in. It has a fantastic placement rate, 100%, who found employment within 3 months, and a really enormous amount of students, 63%, received more than 1 job offer. So you really do want to have a look at this program if you're crazy about these kinds of careers. There are 2 tracks, an accelerated track and a business track. This is really so that you feel not lost in the program. if you don't come from a business background. So if you're from more an engineering, physics, math background, you want to have a look at the accelerated track. This means we accelerate your business knowledge just to give you the courses that business track students probably have already had: financial accounting, corporate finance, financial markets, derivatives, and statistics. If you haven't had those courses, then we'll speed up, get you up to speed there. And it's the same diploma at the end, no matter what track you follow. So it's a matter of saying, okay, I have never had these courses, so I don't want to be frustrated sitting in the classroom and they're just whizzing by and we haven't had time to explain these things. Or if I'm a business track student, I don't want to be bored getting these things re-explained to me because I've already done them. So that's the whole idea of tailoring this program to student needs. Either I'm an accelerated track student and I need some more information about these courses and an introductory level training, or I am a business track student and I don't, so I'll take more electives. At any rate, it's the same diploma at the end. The Master in Finance is absolutely fantastically ranked, number 1 6 times in a row. So employers know this program. It's the beauty of rankings. If you are considering this program and you think to yourself, oh gosh, I don't have internship experience, this is an ideal situation where you would apply to the Master in Management program. You'd get the first year in business, and you could do the gap year to get internship experience in finance that you haven't been able to get up until now, and then in your M2 choose to apply to international finance. Managerial and Financial Economics is another of our finance programs. Perhaps these students have a little broader selection of careers, not only in investment banking and consultancy firms, but also in public services and international organizations. It also has a very high employment rate and a very high number of multiple offers. The students work all over the world, as you can see. It's an excellent program if you're interested in finance, but maybe you want to keep your options a little bit more open. Strategic management. Clearly, this program is designed for students that are considering a career in consultancy. We have workshops with leading consultancy firms. They come right in your classroom. It's basically the main hire for this program is strategic consultancy firms. But students have also gone on to do business development and project management and general management and financial consultancy jobs. So it is not impossible to do corporate strategic positions as well as consultancy careers, but the program is really geared for the consultancy world. Students go on a study trip. They do a lot of case studies, business games. It's a very interactive, very 50-50, like I said earlier, 50% academics, 50% hands-on experience. Marketing. Once again, we're in a program where there's a lot of hands-on experience, especially with leading companies like L'Oreal, Procter & Gamble, Electricité de France, Orange, the telecom group. There's a lot of group work. There's electives in diverse fields: luxury, data analytics, fashion, digital, health. Students, once again, have a very high placement rate and get more than one job offer. A huge amount of students have found jobs outside of their home country. Marketing is not just advertising. Sometimes people have a kind of a narrow vision. which is why you should have a look at that subtitle, Integrated Marketing for the Digital World. There's a lot going on in this program: big data, CRM, brand strategies, retail pricing, market launches, and a lot of live cases, which is really interesting because you know, it's group work, it's putting you in a very professional situation and allowing you to go and present your solution if you're the winning team in front of the board of directors of L'Oreal, for example. So really good experience, huge interaction. This is a new program, our joint degree with École Polytechnique. Polytechnique is one of the best in science and technology. It's a totally new program, so obviously I have no statistics and I haven't got my crystal ball out, but something tells me that if you take you know, a leading business school and you combine it with a leading science and technology school, then those two grandes écoles will truly bring you huge leverage for your career. So this big data joint degree is to train students in data sciences, to give you the necessary tools, and to form, you know, data managers. The admission requirements are not necessarily IT specialists, applied mathematicians. Of course, it does address those populations, but if you don't have, you know, former training in IT or statistics, you can apply to this program if you hold a bachelor in science, in engineering, or in economics. Sustainability and social innovation is another program that's very innovative. It's a very hot topic right now. It just so happens that we've been doing it for over 10 years. Sustainability is basically looking at responsible management, which is something consultancy companies are, you know, more and more involved in. A huge percentage of the class, almost half, has gone into consultancy or financial services and energy, of course, but more so into consultancy. Basically, the mindset here is very important as well. So when you are interviewing, you really want to you know, explain your motivations for making the world a better place. So I'm just going to pop back to give you some specificities on interviewing. When you're interviewing for the International Finance Program, you're going to have to be up on your current events. You're going to have to, because finance students need to know what's going on in the world. You could get questions about things that you have done in your internships, methods, working methods, technical questions. The interviews for all the programs are very short, 25 to 30 minutes maximum. So you have to be ready for a lot of questions. But anything on your CV, of course, is fair game. Just be prepared to defend your point of view. It's a finance program, so you could get asked questions about what's happening in the financial world, so you need to be ready for it. Managerial and Financial Economics is a program where the academic director really likes to see sharp students. So you could get a quiz question, or you could get a math question, or a kind of logical type brain teaser question on top of the other things I've already mentioned. And strategic management, more than ever, I think that these type of interviews want you to have very clear career goals and explain where you're going with the program. So be prepared to defend your past experience and what you're hoping to do in the future. Marketing is basically making sure that you've gone through the program and you know what you're getting into. So you really want to be up on your courses if you've come from a business marketing background, and if you haven't, show your interest in the area. Perhaps you might get a question about a marketing campaign that you loved or hated, and anything that any kind of marketing experience or any kind of business experience via the internships you've done are also an area where we will ask you questions. This is a new program again, so I won't be able to tell you on that one. And in sustainable development, you'll probably get questions about how you're going to actually implement sustainable solutions, corporate social responsibility, impact on climate, how you're going to actually go about that. What we don't want is students that kind of hold their head in their hands and dream of a greener future. We're more interested in students that are going to put their hands in their head and come up with solutions. As I said, there are a few French masters as well, so just so you know that they exist, there's Management de Grands Projets, Droit et Management International, Média et Création, et Entrepreneur. And these masters require that you speak fluent French. Students sometimes ask me, what level of certificate do I have to show to be able to apply to any of these programs? Well, you simply have to be able to do an interview with smooth, clear French language. That's the answer. These are very specific masters that have very specific admission requirements. So if you are interested, have a look at the admission page on the website, or just, contact me and I'd be happy to help you through that. All of the one-year master programs and the Grande École have access to the certificate programs. The certificate programs are actually mandatory for the one-year MSc programs. So what are they? Well, this is a block of 100 hours of field work that are sponsored by leading companies. It's really an opportunity to rub elbows with the kinds of companies that you'd really be interested in working with in these different fields. For example, finance students generally love the Energy and Finance certificate with Deloitte and Société Générale, whereas marketing students are often interested in the luxury strategies with Caring or the digital certificates. Strategic management students often look at the M&A certificate or the LVMH client experience. There's not a specific certificate that goes with a specific program. The important thing here, as always at HEC, you're applying, you're not choosing, so you have to defend your choices. What you need to do is simply, connect these certificates to your career goals. The certificates are not really an opportunity to try something new. They're an opportunity to give you an edge, a greater level of expertise in the field you've already chosen. The career department is very active at HEC, and especially for career fairs. There are a huge number of career fairs on campus. We have a specific finance fair, a specific consultancy fair, a legal fair, an international fair, an alumni fair. We have a really high turnout each year of top prestigious companies that come to recruit on campus. Why wouldn't they? We've almost done half the work for them. You are all highly talented students with fantastic GMAT scores, high GPAs, strong motivation, cross-cultural sensitivity, and leadership potential. So it's an opportunity for you to meet all these companies on campus. So we're still concentrating on getting you to this stage. So here's some tips about your online application, about interviewing, about what you need to know. First of all, I would say that you need to have a plan and you need to defend it. You should be keeping in the back of your mind as you're writing your application or as you're interviewing, answering questions. Why France? Why did you choose to come and study in France? Is it because you want to work in France and you want to learn French, or you've already started learning French, or it's because you want to work in Europe, which is totally fine, but you need to explain that. Why HEC? Of course, there's the rankings, but what else? Make sure you show that you've looked at the program, what's inside of it, who's been doing it, who's hiring from it. So basically, it's a 3-stage process where you're saying, this is why I chose France, this is why I chose HEC, and how this particular program is going to help me achieve my career goals. 3 important things that will help you have a plan. The GMAT or the GRE, students ask me, which one should I do? Either one, as long as it's really, really competitive. We accept both. We don't have a preference. Our preference is strong, competitive. The stronger, the better. This is your opportunity to show your high potential. So take the time, prepare for the test, do the mocks, and get a great score. It's really, really important. Seats are limited, and this is a very important element. Your CV, the number of students that hand in CVs that really, should have been tweaked before is incredible. Your CV, on your CV, what you're doing is showing what makes you different, outstanding, fantastic. You're building your legend here. So what you need to do is imagine your CV as a shop window. You're going down the high street, the commercial street, and there's different shops. As you're going down the street, you may notice a shop window that's particularly well dressed, really well decorated. You can't put everything you have in the store in your shop window. You have to put interesting, eye-catching, attractive things. And that is what you need to do when you do your CV. I can't stress enough the importance of not having a book, not having a CV that's 4 or 5 pages long. Your CV should be a 1-page academic CV. Basically, what you need to do is keep it crisp and put the most important things about you on your CV. Start with education, of course, because that's our first criteria, and this should be an academic CV. Keeping in mind you are a student and you've been a student for a number of years now, so that should be the first thing we see on the CV. Mention directly on your CV the name of your degree, the name of your school, the rankings for your school, a very, very short sentence. I mean, you see, we do it all the time at HEC. We put our rankings, so don't hesitate to put yours. Put the most, positive one you can find. It's important. Not everybody knows perhaps your school, just like not everybody knows our school. So if you put the rankings, it helps to position your school. Okay. GPA is interesting to put right after your degree, so that you can start right away showing that you're a high-level achieving student. Don't forget to put any certifications. Put your GMAT or your entrance exam results, because some of you have some very incredible entrance exam results that show, just how competitive and talented you really are. Internships, of course, we'd love to see those, or volunteer experience. And work experience also includes family business. I, for one, worked with my dad, and it was a very high responsibility, zero pay job, and family business is tough, so you really should include it. You do a lot of things when you're in a family business. It's more an A to Z kind of task, It's a very professionalizing experience. Experience is not necessarily paid, so just make sure you explain those different kinds of experience that you have on your CV. Just label them accordingly. If it's volunteer experience, if it's internship experience, if it's family business experience, if it's a short work ex, just put the right headings so people know what you're talking about. You should also include awards, not just scholarships or academic awards, but also awards that you've gained in sports, in different clubs and associations, in art and culture. Wherever those awards came from, you can put them on your CV. It shows that when you're passionate about something, you go all the way and you have a good level. I would also include those extracurricular activities. It shows what you've been participating in, group activities, in clubs and associations, in sports again, and different kinds of endeavors that show that you manage well your time, can work well in a group. You don't necessarily have to be the president of the group. Every position in a group is interesting. IT skills is another thing you can put on your CV, but if you're an IT engineer, then please don't, put a page of IT skills. We imagine well that, you are talented in that area if you have that type of degree. I would put a few that, kind of out of the ordinary, or if you're interested in a specific area, marketing or finance, I would put the IT skills that are more relevant to that field. End your CV with languages. Don't forget to put all the different languages you speak, including English. If you've done some beginner classes in French, definitely put that on your CV. I can't stress enough the importance of learning French if you'd like to work in France, but it's equally important just to have some basic French, just to get more out of your experience. And it's also a good way to capture some points when you're being evaluated, when your application is being evaluated. You should grab those extra points by putting those extra languages, especially European languages. So, don't hesitate to take up a few courses before you come so you can get that on your CV and grab some extra points there. It's also a way, don't forget, of showing your cross-cultural sensitivity, that you're open to other cultures, open to other languages, open to learning different things, new perspectives. Interviewing by Skype, which is what we do when you apply directly to HEC Paris. Honestly, don't forget to dress as if you were going to a business interview. We sometimes do get these problems, and it's silly to put yourself in that situation. So do dress like you mean business. This goes with the point about choosing your environment. Make sure there's no posters or things behind you that are distracting. A number of times, students have actually done their interview with their roommate in the room, which is terribly distracting. You need to be alone and in a peaceful environment. As well, we don't want to see any Justin Bieber posters in the background or AC/DC posters or whatever. That's not interesting. I had one student do his interview in the lobby of a big hotel, which was a really bad idea as well. And don't forget that when we say the time of the interview, it's Paris time. So do the conversion and don't get caught. I had one student that actually did her interview in her pajamas. That was a terrible situation. But she did manage to grab, a suit jacket and immediately look business as best she could. But it was a very, stressful interview for her. So don't get caught in your pajamas, or don't miss the call because you didn't do the conversion. A landline, of course, so that you don't get a really bad Skype connection, which is also a hugely stressful problem for a lot of students. Do your homework. Do your homework before you come to the interview. Be ready for questions. contact students, alumni, read the student stories on the website, go through the different courses, certificate programs in the online brochure, look at the different options that are in your course, because you could get questions about that in the interview. Oh, well, what certificate do you think you would choose? Or if you were going to organize a study trip, where would you go? These kinds of questions can come up. So you need to have done your research, to say, well, I saw that, for example, in strategic management, there's been a study trip in Dubai, a study trip in London. It just shows that you've taken the time, you've done your research. It's all about showing that you're really motivated. Being really motivated is not just, oh, I really want to get into this program because, HEC is highly ranked and I really love it. Being motivated is, this is what I want to do for my career. These courses are absolutely perfect. This is exactly what I'm looking for to get me to, an internship in Goldman Sachs and to get a job there. So you really want to have a look at all that. Communication skills are super important. We're judging you on what you know, but we're also judging you on how you present it. So be ready for that question if you get it when you start out your interview. So why do you want to do this program? That is your absolute opportunity to grab the question and lay out your plan. Have a plan and defend it. Why France? Why HEC? Why this program? And how it will help you to achieve your career goals. Going back to the CV, be careful about what you put on there. Don't put yourself out on a limb. Anything that's on your CV is munition for questions. One unfortunate interview that I participated in saw a student who had put simply that he was interested in IT companies. And of course, the professor asked, oh, really, super, what IT companies are you following? And how are you following them? And of course, the student put himself on a limb here because he didn't really prepare that question. He liked IT in general, but wasn't really following a specific company. So he had nothing to say. And that's horrible. Any of your interests, any of your awards, any of your experiences, anything that's on your CV is what we're going to ask you questions about. You know yourself very well. It's a subject you can defend without too much difficulty. So there's no use putting things on there that you don't know anything about. Be clear about your career goals, especially if it's for the one-year programs. Once again, you need to show you have thought about the project and exactly what you want to do. For the Grande École Master in Management, of course, you have that second year, so you have a little bit more time, but you should show that you've given it thought and that you have narrowed it down. Reference letters, we really do read them at HEC Paris, so you really do need to find professors or people from your internship, managers from your internship that really do know you, first point, and second and important point, that are really positive about you. So make sure if you ask for a reference from someone, you've had the time to talk to that person beforehand about it. I always like to give people an out when I ask them to do something. If you're too busy, I understand, for example. But you should really talk to the person about the fact that, well, at HEC Paris, it's part of the online application. It's something they really read and take into account. So I'm looking for a reference that can be very positive about me. Do you think you could do it? You shouldn't be afraid to tell people you need a positive reference. Negative references are killers, so you really don't want that. Another thing that you need to know about reference letters is in your online application, there's a link that you're going to send to them. So we don't want you to go get paper references. We want you to send the link. They'll fill in the online reference, and it'll be attached to your application. They're confidential. You can't see it, but you'll see that it's been done. This is one of the things you should do in the beginning. When you open your application, send out those links in the beginning. Don't wait, to finish your application to do that step, because sometimes I've seen students miss the first round deadline just because the reference letter didn't come in time, and that was really dramatic after going through all that effort to get a super GMAT score or GRE score and fill in the online application, put a great CV out there, just because it was, too late in the references. So make sure you do that early on and that you brief the person. Tuition fees. So here they are. The 1 year master in management, the 1 year master programs all have the same tuition fees whether you come from a European country or not. This is not the case for the master in management. There's European and non-European fees. What we mean by that is your nationality, of course. Oh, by the way, yes, the question that I get asked a lot is, does that mean 37,000 euros for both years? The answer is yes, of course it does. Yes, absolutely. So you saw the prices. Now you need to know how to fund your studies. If you are looking at applying for the Eiffel Scholarship, you need to get your applications in for the first round. There are no exceptions. We have no choice in the matter. It's a French government scholarship. They make up the rules. So at HEC, we'll be pre-selecting the top applications that we will be presenting to Eiffel. Scholarships are few. It's not something you can count on, but it's definitely something you should try for if you have, excellent academic results, a strong GMAT GRE score, interesting extracurriculars, and you show your motivation to come and study in France. You also have access to HEC merit-based scholarships that are offered by the HEC Foundation. These are partial scholarships. We don't do tuition waivers at HEC Paris, unfortunately, but we do offer these partial scholarships to, incite high talented students to confirm their seats. So basically what we're looking at here is scholarships that are around 10–15% of the maximum, of the tuition fees. We give out a lot of merit-based scholarships, and so they're not, huge, but we do give out a lot. There is also a solution that's called the Prodigy Bank Loan, so you can look that up on our website. Basically, the idea is that you start paying the loan paying back the loan when you start your career, when you start working. You also have access to a French government grant for housing that you can apply to once you arrive on campus. And I encourage you to check, search for scholarships yourself. We have a list on our website on the fees and funding page of each program. You can also look at Campus France website. They've brought together quite a long list of scholarships. Sometimes there are scholarships that we have not heard of, but that exist and that you can apply for. Depending on your home country. For example, in India, of course, there's the Sharpak. So you want to be aware of what's out there, so you have to do your research there. The campus is absolutely beautiful, as you can see by these pictures. You can also see by these pictures that you cannot see the Eiffel Tower from the campus. We are not located beside the Eiffel Tower. We're about 30 kilometers from Paris in, a 340-acre campus that you can live on. We have on-campus housing. International students are a priority, and that you can play sports and enjoy. If we were in Paris, you would probably never study. So that is another reason why we are outside of Paris. And it's just an absolutely beautiful environment to live and learn. There are over 130 student clubs on campus. We encourage you all to be a part of at least one of those clubs. There are sports clubs, there are glee clubs, there are debate clubs, there's finance clubs, there are NGO kind of associations. There's absolutely a ton of things going on, and if it just so happens you don't find a club that you hoped to find, you can always create one. That's why each year we have more and more clubs on campus. The students put together musicals, so I'm still hoping for a Bollywood one year. I keep hoping, so it would be very nice if the Indian students could create a Bollywood club. That would be absolutely perfect. So that's what I had to tell you today about HEC Paris, about our different programs, Master in Management, 2-year program, the 1-year programs as well, about the living environment, about interviewing, about your online applications. If other questions come up, I'd be happy to help. You can also contact Time, who'll send me the questions. So study hard, do a great job on your GMAT or GRE, and I'll be looking forward to hearing from you. It's always a pleasure to help students with the CVs. It's something that's not so easy to do on your own. If you need CV help, if you'd like me to evaluate your profile, that's things that we can do as well. In any case, it was absolutely a pleasure to reach out to you today, and I hope you enjoyed this presentation and it was helpful for you. Bye-bye.